I guess. Hey.
George still on mute.
Oh yeah, let's get him back up here. All right, everybody. See if I can get the right button. There we are. George, I'm going to put you off of
I
mute.
got it.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Dr. Kevin Jarina. We are live in Synergy Solutions, and we're actually live to the world. I'm streaming on like 8 or 9 different channels, and because we want to give this to the world, because when people connect, when they decide to open up to the healing forces that are out there, the forces that help you express life, well, then you will receive. And so I invite you to that. We're going to start with a conversation. The mind and the body are one. And Adrian posed a good question earlier. How did it get separated in the first place? And you know, well, really the mind and body is one, as I've come to know and love and see and teach. And so let's start with that topic. And then after we have our discussion for a few moments, we're going to go into the intention setting phase. And then from the intention, we do the work. And the work is the attunement, or another language, the adjustment, the alignment of you to live and thrive in this environment and adapt, if I may add. So the mind and body are one. Dr. George, welcome aboard today. And your thoughts. The mind and body are one. You know, it got separated. Now we're seeing it as one again. What's the conversation?
I think that I'm trying to recall the guy's name that was responsible, but I think there was a time when the medical people wanted to dissect dead bodies, and the church wouldn't let them, so they cut a deal. And the church said, "Well, we'll take the soul, you take the bodies," and the separation started. And apparently, that kind of thing's gone back and forth for a long time. Which is Ted brought this up. Harris Coulter's work, Divided Legacy. Like, for a few hundred years, it's all about energy medicine, and then it's about physical medicine. We're kind of at a junction point now. So I think it was a deliberate separation.
Agreed. And I think, is it Descartes or Descartes?
Descartes. Yeah, Rene Descartes.
Thank you. I had that S on the end. Apologies.
Well, it's French, so it's silent.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. Yeah. So we had the separation now. This is what, hundreds of years ago? And we've had extreme studies in each avenue, each of those topics. Dr. Ian, the mind and body are one. Your thoughts, your comments.
Yeah, Descartes used to torture animals, and he'd say, "Oh, they scream and they act just like a real animal with a soul, like a human."
Whoa.
You know, and but he said they didn't have a soul, so they couldn't really be feeling pain, something like that. So he was a little, his development of thought, and some things back then weren't exactly kosher, but they led to advancement along the way, right?
It did. You know, we have to take what we learn from the bad, so to speak, and apply it so we can do it better moving forward. I mean, I'm reminded of these videos of cows jumping around in the field after they're released from, I guess, captivity in some sort. So we know that animals have the soul that I do believe in, and we do know that they experience life as we do. We are mammals. I'll say that. Dr. Ian, do you have anything else you want to add? Since lost you on the volume there, Doc. But we'll switch over to Dr. Sasha. Dr. Sasha, the mind and body are one. What thoughts do you have for people out there?
I think probably we started going wrong when we stopped believing that.
So we need to reshift our beliefs, our perceptions, our understanding, our concepts. And, I have it right here, actually. I wrote a book in 2017 basically about how our subconscious mind, the parts of our mind we don't get, we don't have full access to. It speaks to us through a pain in our body or sensations or just simply awareness. And so that's my explanation of this phenomena with patient interactions and patient stories. Dr. Adrian, your thoughts, body and mind are one.
Yeah. fascinated me when I started studying. Not chiropractic, was before actually, when I started studying health and the body in general, and I was stumbled upon the history of Chinese medicine, and it was always fascinated me how they knew exactly the path and the points of the meridians, but the was discovered like around the eighth century. In the Persia or Arabic world, while us in Europe we were kind of very, very basic humans. But in Persia they had way more knowledge, and they discovered that actually the Chinese medicine anatomy of physiology, so organs, all the stuff, was not completely wrong, but was pretty wrong. And they didn't know it was a blood and venous blood circulation and all the stuff. And when they started do dissection on corpses, even if it was completely illegal, they started to do it, and they started seeing, okay, oh yeah, that's what actually we have inside. And it always fascinated me how precise they were with the meridians, so subtle energy bodies and energy systems, but the denser, tangible organs and systems, then it was more difficult for them to figure out.
Yeah.
And it's really a part of and fascinated me this fact over their sensitivity to subtle energy systems, but figuring out what the actual body is, and how the muscles look like and organs look like, and how they placed in our body and their function. And that's
I think we're much on the same path, because this is the same phenomena that fascinated me. And how can people sense these things? And I picked up a book many years ago about the traditional Chinese medicine, but as well as traditional American, Native American medicine, and different cultures around the world. Many of them had an energy blueprint of the body, and in this book, it overlays some of those images, and many of them line up exactly. Some systems are missing. Some systems have additional, and it's just quite phenomenal to see different cultures around the world pick up these subtle energy lines. And I was showing an image a moment ago to the people at home, and everyone here on the call, the doctors have seen this image between function and structure and chemistry and EMF and subtle energy and intention and information. This web of this cycle of knowledge and energy. And information I think we can just call it information at its core, at its most simple. And that completely fascinated me. Hearing stories of old chiropractors, it was like the Princess of the Pea. How many pieces of paper could you stack and feel the hair and trace the hair underneath the paper? And people were talking about hundreds of pieces and getting it, and I'm like, wow, I don't know how they did that. But now I understand, because I've had the time and the experience and basically the hands-on physical, practical, like an examination. I had to do it. And I've been in it now for 20 years, but there's people that have been doing it for 40, 50, 60, 70 years. I'm excited to see my skill set and what I'm able to offer with another 40 years under the belt.
Yeah.
Dr. Ian, welcome back. You made it. Thank you. And anything else you want to add to this mind body is one conversation?
Just enjoying it.
Great. Anybody at home? I do have the chat up. Let me pull it up. Maybe people have been saying hello. I didn't even say hello out there. And I'll pull up the chat. And let us know your thoughts about the mind and body being one, and your personal experiences or insights. Maybe you've worked with one of the doctors here, and you have a testimony you'd like to add. Sometimes there's amazing things that that are shared after the adjustment. I know, Dr. George, it happens to you. I'm sure every doctor here has a story of something they did or said, and the patient comes back and goes, "Doc, you won't believe what just happened after your adjustment," that kind of thing. And it's quite the delight when I get to experience the patient's body and energy field informing me of something, and I say it, and then later on the patient comes back and goes, "Doc, you blew my mind. Oh my God." And so my point of saying that is the human body is communicating to those who understand the language of the human body and can tell you things about yourself that maybe you're not fully aware of. You know, like that blind spot. So let's go ahead and move forward. Each and every week now, we shift gears into the conversation of the intention. And what we're doing here is we are using, I'm showing everybody at home the graphic. Here we are. Using the conversation of our intentions, which is here down at the bottom right. And Docs at home, let me show you. That way you get to see it as well. Excuse me, everybody. We are live. That's the fun part here. And you get to do different fun things. So, Docs, here you are back at your location. You've seen this slide before. So we're talking about intention down here in the bottom right-hand corner. And that pulls the proper information for us to inform the subtle energy fields and therefore the electromagnetic fields of the human body, and then therefore your biochemistry, the internal chemistry of your mind and body, and your physical structure, and that therefore how you are able to function and operate in life. And that's the basic nature of it. And I love to say this now. I love to say this. Science has informed us that, yes, this is true. And I can show you the science that I'm pulling from. However, I want to invite everyone to learn how to investigate the quality of science. And we'll leave that for another discussion another day. But how do you tell good science versus bad science? That's another conversation. But let's go ahead and move into the intention for this group healing that we're going to be going through. We each have, maybe there's a request for somebody at home that you love, you care for, maybe for yourself. Maybe you're wanting the community you work with to head towards a specific direction. What thoughts do you guys have for intentions today? And Dr. Adrian, I'll start with you. Thoughts about intentions for today?
Yeah, my intention would be reconciliation. Well, mind and body also. Also on feminine mind with masculine mind, with reconciliation between all the polarities that we can have for the war. And a specific intention would be to my grand aunt. She's 98 years old. Yeah, she's about to transition. She's in that process. So yeah, like for us to keep her in our intentions.
You know, there is a lot of transition happening, and people that are in this position, in that stage of life, I desire that peaceful transition, that ease. So I hear a couple things in there: divine feminine and divine male aligning, reconcile. It's like bringing together. Beautiful thought. Dr. Ian, your intentions, thoughts today?
I think, especially for Dr. Adrian's, I don't know if it's his grandmother, but letting us all just, my intention is let us all just know that God's with us, and let him be in your life and show you the path you have to walk, whether that might be something that's you feel is positive or you feel is negative, that there's let him be with everybody today. Yeah. That's my intention.
So it's like receive that divine guidance.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen to it, versus our own ego drive of what we think we need today.
Yeah, that can be a strong one, that's for sure. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Wow, what a good intention. Thank you. That tiny, in chiropractic, those that are familiar with the green books, this concept is pretty familiar. It's that tiny voice on the inside. That subtlety. It requires quiet.
Yeah,
To
sometimes
hear that.
really hard to hear sometimes. Yeah.
When we
Bunch
most
of them, bunch of them telling you this, that, or that one, and the ego is one of them, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, is we have all these thoughts and voices and levels of thoughts and voices of things to do, things to accomplish, things to be busy with. And yet, when I hear that voice in the past, when I was younger, it was always at that moment of, I'm stuck. I'm on my knees going, I don't know what to do. And then that voice was free because my ego was stuck. But that was when I had, I took life the hard way. So I've learned to be more subtle with that one. So that being said, thank you. Anybody at home who is watching or listening, you want to type in a thought and intention, we'll talk about it here for yourself, for a family member, or for the collective. And Dr. Sasha, let's shift over to you, your thoughts, your intentions for our time today. I know oftentimes, and I'll just put these words and you can give me affirmation on this. We want to listen to the divine, like Dean said, the spirit that guides us, the highest of high. And listen and then follow those directions, and that's what we call following the OD. But Sasha, if I stole your thunder, I apologize. But if you would add more to what you were going to say, and I want to expand, I want you to expand. But maybe that's not. That's my ego.
I wonder what OD will say. I never do.
So openness to receive and then do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you. What's that, Adrian?
Enjoy the surprise.
Yes, enjoy the surprise. Boy, what a delay. That's a way to operate. Dr. George, please, your thoughts, intentions.
What a group.
Yeah, I love
it. So when you said it's time to come up with an intention, I just listen to what pops out of my head. I got clarion call. Can you hear it? And then a second later, I thought, well, people probably want to get healed. And then the next thought that popped in my head is that we heal as we move towards the target. And I'm like, what target? And then I got, to miss the mark is sin. So we're going to unsin, which is healing anyway. And then it popped in my head, the lesson today from A Course in Miracles, which had something to do with his mind is in me. I have to be quiet and listen to it. I think we all kind of said the same thing. We're going to help people be themselves by remembering who that is.
Yeah, exactly. Help people remember to be themselves. That is beautiful. And then listen for the guidance of how to operate as yourself. It comes from within. Well, here to that. Let's. I'm thankful for everybody here. I'm grateful for everyone there, and I invite all those that at any level, depth, and dimension in which you are and which you're operating. If you're wanting this, if you're desiring this, if you're needing this, say yes, and this will be delivered to you. That's my intention. Is that you have the eyes to be open and the ears to hear what we're offering, and that if it's appealing to you, that you are in alignment, and say yes. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Let's go ahead and shift the gears. We're going to be moving into now the actual work. For those that are new, each of the doctors has a placeholder for all the individuals at any level, depth, and dimension that are connecting and wanting this. This placeholder holds that pattern, and each of the doctors is using this OD to identify what to do, when and where, and in the proper order, in concert with all of us gathered here. It's quite a beautiful experience. So if you're at home, hopefully, if you're just listening in, be able to focus and put your feet on the ground, take a few deep breaths. Each of the doctors has their method of applying the techniques. So let's go ahead and begin. I don't know what just happened. This guy struck with a wave of laughter.
Uh-huh.
If you're all set, go ahead and give the thumbs up. If you're still working, go ahead and work. Okay, so I think we have made it to the next phase. So thank you, everybody. Now, if you're at home, take a deep breath in and out. Some people are aware, have the ability to sense these things. Some people are new to this. And like any skill set, there's a learning curve. So bear with us and yourself as you learn these skill sets. But let's go ahead and now we go over what each of the doctors found and what we felt and what we experienced. And we do this once a month live to the world in all the different channels and places I have connections. And then every other week we just stream it to the live the private members area. But with that being said, I'll talk about that at the end. And Dr. Adrian, I'll have you start. What did you notice today? What did you find?
Found a sphenoid, and then I found a pattern into BGI. So it was a sagittal pattern, which is correlates with the mind, the ego. So our connection was basically it's making peace with our earth terrestrial part of ourselves, and that was it.
Well, it's beautiful. I mean, I can just talk about the sphenoid itself is within our community of KST, that is the primary bone associated with the emotional state. And I know through my mechanical work with advanced biostructural correction, the sphenoid is like a key to the rest of the posture. And as anyone who is not familiar with that bone, it forms the temple area, but also the back of your eyeballs and the floor of your brain, a part of the floor of your brain. It's quite amazing. And Thank you, Dr. Adrian. We'll be all done here in a moment. And Dr. George, thank you. Yes, the yellow bone. I'm gonna make your screen bigger, George, if you want to go ahead and show it to everybody.
Yeah. Well, there it is. That's the yellow bone. That's the sphenoid. It articulates with pretty much all the other bones in the skull.
It's like a keystone.
Yeah. Yep. It's important.
Yep, it's important. Wonderful. Okay, so exactly right.
This guy.
Dr. Now, George, I'm really intrigued. I don't know what that is, but why don't you share that story since we're on it?
Yeah, what is it?
What's going on here, George?
Well, when we got to chiropractic school, they had us whittle a model of the Atlas axis, and so that we could get sharp knives in our hands we were going to use to heal people.
Joke, everybody. That's a joke.
so what I saw, like as we were setting up, is that I was going to get in through the kidney and then adjust Atlas, but this time the Atlas adjustment was from inside to expand the Atlas this way.
Oh.
Usually I'm expanding organs. This time it was Atlas, and so I was laughing to myself. And that's when you started laughing too. So and that was it. We downloaded after that. So we made a bigger Atlas so that more power can come through that cord.
Wow, that's cool. And you said the moment you had that joke, I started laughing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. One mind. Right?
Talk about one mind. That's right. And look, we can talk about this in business, Stephen Covey's work. We can talk about this in different forms of chiropractic. Pretty much any profession, probably, if we could, investigate conversation deep enough, there's this phenomena where it's called entrainment, if you want a proper term, but there's this entrainment, meaning the brain waves, the brain synchronize. And everyone knows this if you have a long-term romantic partner or a child or a brother or sister, and definitely if you have a twin. These things go on. Wild, it's fun. But and as one becomes more in tune, just like riding a bike, just like learning any skill set, you can tap in expanded ways. Dr. Sasha, what did you note today?
Well, talking of synchrony, everything Adrian said, I echo. Mine was grief, and it went to the Reiki adjustment for grief that connects us to the world. That's what it was.
That's profound. And in many circles, Adrian, you're talking about aligning ourself, I'll say it this way, our spiritual self with our physical self and being at peace with that. And in another level of circles, the physical self is related to the all that is this physical realm, the world, the earth. It's kind of like a shamanic kind of perspective. However, it plays out in my life, so I'll just go with it. And thank you, Sasha, for saying it. I think that's such an important piece that we got to share today, that we are at peace with the world around us. And that means peace within as well. I don't know which way does it go. I think it goes both ways. Interesting. Well, I didn't have much to work on. I worked on a cervical C1 from the top right, posterior and lateral. And then it was the cranial bone junction of where C1, the mastoid, the occiput, and the temporal bone, kind of that whole zone is needed, kind of like a expansion. George, my goodness, expansion.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, that was it. I didn't have a word for it until now. I'm reflecting what you said, and it perfectly aligns for me. Wow. And in another circle, this is the seat of the soul. And chiropractic, the Blair listing. I mean, you just keep on going. It's beautiful. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in today. We go weekly, every week, Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern time. We have a topic we talk about the nature of the human body, the human mind, the interconnections of our world. We talk about how we process information, how do we adapt better. So that translates into living a higher quality of life. And that is our aim as physicians, holistic physicians, chiropractic physicians. And each of us has unnamable amount of knowledge, things we study that correlate with what it comes to the mind, the body, the spirit, and the soul. And so if that interests you, I didn't pull it up prepared, but go to, you see it streaming, rolling on the bottom, synergysolutionsessions.com. It explains everything there. I just updated it with a few points that were missing so people can see everything that's offered and how to get it self-generating income to cover your own cost of care. And if you're so motivated to even have a stream of income coming to support you in your daily life. I built that because look, it takes money to operate in this world. It takes a currency of exchange. And right now that's the US dollar where I am and some other forms of things that have monetary value. But I wanted to create a system where someone who had nothing could ultimately get something, and through some energy exchange. And that means sharing with people that are interested in this type of stuff. So if you're interested in this stuff and there's some people that are interested in stuff like this, holistic healing, energy, frequency, vibration, steering away from a chemical solution or surgical, or even just doing things proactively, this is the right spot for you. So go over to that link, synergysolutionsessions.com, and join in every Wednesday. Blessings, best regards, everybody. Thank you for your time, your attention, your efforts, your energy, and your intention. Dr. George, you're closing us off, so I'm going to highlight you, bring you up to the spotlight so everybody can see what you're holding there. What do you got?
That's for you, Kev. That's how many we did today. 3.5 million.
Woo! I tell you what, for those that know, radionics is working. Anyway, I will talk to you later. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Yeah.
Until next week. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.